Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Presidential Address. It is week 14. Sorry we did not record this on Wednesday like we normally do. I was away playing poker in Vegas. It did not go well. I'm not going to get into that. But NFL has gone incredible. My God. Guys, if you're not playing my NFL, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, if you've never watched this show before, I'm Lawrence Presman, and we go through every single game on the card, top to bottom. I'll give you my thoughts, analysis, and a pick or two for every single game. So how did we do last week? We killed it again for our client, 6-3. We are up double-digit units of profit this season. In the 13 NFL Sundays for my clients, I have won 9 of them. So I'm 9-4 on Sundays. I'm also on a 14-4 NFL run and a 30-15 NFL run. It's just been absolutely amazing. I mean, on Sundays alone, I'm on a 23-9 and 47-24 NFL run. Guys, I got at least 5 plays for my clients this Sunday. Please make sure to play them. Okay, let's get into it. I'm going to go through every game on the board, and then after that, Meghan Payton will join us for some prop bets, and then we'll end the show with 3 show best bets, and we went 2-1 on them last week. Okay, so we've got Baltimore going into Pittsburgh. Baltimore is plus 1.5. The total in this game is 36.5. We have seen some money coming in on Pittsburgh. As of today, the line has moved to -2 for Pittsburgh. And let's break this game down. Firstly, I'm super impressed with Pittsburgh right now. Defensively spectacular. Pickett is doing great. And I think this might be the best coaching job of Tomlin's career. With all that said, it's not like I think this team's going anywhere, but I do think they're going to win this game. You all know my thoughts on Baltimore. Even with Lamar, I don't believe in this team. Now they play Huntley at QB. They went 1-4 last year with him as a starter. There is no way I can look at the total in this game. 36.5 is very low. Look, if this game was 40, this would be a client play. I still think this game is going to go under. I just can't bet that total. So what are we looking at? Well, I like Pittsburgh, and I like them on the money line. I think this game is going to be a low-scoring game, and I'd rather take the money line here because I could see a 14-13, 17-16 type football game. Pittsburgh has a rock-solid defense, 7th best run D in the league, and keep in mind, that was without TJ Watt for many, many games. They're also very hard to score against. I see Baltimore coming into this game with a conservative approach. I see them struggling to run the ball, and I would not be surprised if we see a few turnovers by them. This game will likely come down to a field goal. I see Pittsburgh winning with an expected score of somewhere around 16-13. Take Pittsburgh on the money line. Now we look at Cleveland going into Cincinnati, and the line here is Cleveland plus 5.5 with a total of 46.5. Watson looked terrible last week, but that has to be expected. He hasn't played in close to 2 years. I think he gets better and better as the season and his career progresses. But this week he is in tough, playing a Cincinnati D that is just playing really good football right now. And Cincinnati can see a path to winning their division and even perhaps getting the 1 and 2 seed. This Cincinnati team is not rolling over and dying, guys. I have to look at Cincinnati as I don't expect Cleveland to put up a lot of points, and no one right now can stop the Cincinnati offense. I am betting Cincinnati minus the 5.5. As for the New York Jets versus Buffalo, we have to look at the dog here. Although I feel like Buffalo, even without Von Miller, is the best team in the league, they have been struggling to put teams away this year and already lost a game to the Jets. As for the Jets, this is a tough team to play against, man. Their defense is spectacular. They're playing great ball and clock control. They're just not getting it done in the red zone as much as they would like. I think we're going to see the Jets with a conservative approach to this game. I think they're going to want to keep this game a low-scoring game. I think they're going to want to keep the ball in their hands. They're going to want to keep Josh Allen off the field. This is a division rivalry game. This is a must-win game for the New York Jets. Now, I don't think the New York Jets will win this game, but I think we're going to get their very best effort. And for that reason, hey, 10 points, I'm going to take them. We like the New York Jets plus 10. Now we turn our attention to Jacksonville going into Tennessee. And before we get into that game, I just want to say I am hurting today, guys. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. 7 days in Vegas just killed me. I got back home late last night. I am a mess. But anyway, I've done my research and I'm ready to go. So let's look at this Jacksonville, Tennessee game. Jacksonville plus 3.5. The total in this game, 41.5. And man, I see no other way of betting this game but to look at the under and Tennessee. But I do prefer the under. This Jacksonville team's really struggling to score more than 17 points a game of late. And Tennessee is a team that just slows the clock to a crawl. This team can put together 9-minute drives. They could do 2 of them, 3 of them in one game. And that ultimately just keeps the other team off the field and eats clock. Tennessee's issue is they just can't score much either. I see this game having more field goals than TDs. I also think Tennessee's in a really good spot here. Jacksonville is going nowhere this year, and Tennessee is coming off a terrible loss and will really want to turn that feeling around. They got to get their season back on track, and they got to get that winning feeling. I can see this game being 20-13 for Tennessee. Take the under and take Tennessee minus 3.5. As for Houston, plus 17.5 versus Dallas, I'm passing on this game. Look, Dallas can name their score. I mean, Dallas could win this game 40-6. They could also win this game 20-13. The problem is, they're not going to call me ahead of time and let me know what score they're going to put up. I can't take the points. Houston is a disaster. I can't lay the points, too many. And the total, who knows? This game's an outright pass. Now we look at Philadelphia going into New York. Philly is now -7. The total in this game has been bet down to 44 from 45.5. And we still have to look at the under in this game. Philly will run the ball a shit ton, and their D has only allowed 18 points per game, which is incredible. The Giants are a run-first team. They play clock control football. Plus, the New York Giants D has only allowed 21 points per game. And the problem the New York Giants have, and especially against Philadelphia, is their rush defense is bottom 10 in the league. Philly should be able to run the ball all over them. However, that doesn't necessarily result in 7 points. Yes, Philly will run. Yes, they will move the ball between the 20s. It's just going to come down to whether they get touchdowns or field goals. I can see 300 yards on the ground in this game. And I think we get a 23-17 type football game. I like the Giants, but my bet here is on the under. Take Philly and New York Giants under 44. Now we look at Minnesota. They're going into Detroit plus 1.5, which really you would think is crazy. I mean, this Minnesota team is lights out. But Detroit is playing exceptional football of late. They're playing at home. They're feeling great about themselves, and Dan Campbell has them ready every single week. Let's start by saying this. I love the Vikings. They were my 5% play last week, and we won. But I really love the Lions. They were my 4% play last week, and they won. How do I see this game playing out? Easy. A whole lot of points. A very exciting football game, and one that literally will come down to the very last play. With that said, this is not a great spot for the Vikings. Last week, we took them as I thought it was a great spot for them, and I mentioned that, but this is a better spot for Detroit. Detroit is impossible to stop on offense, and the Vikings are a bottom 10 team in the league in points allowed. You know who's dead last in points allowed? Detroit. I hate that this is over that 51 number. 51 is the most important number in all of totals. Sorry, guys. Told you I'm a mess. 51 is the most important number in all the totals, that 51 and 43. But I just can't see this game going under. I think one of these teams is going to get into the 30s. I think we're going to see a game in the high 50s, low 60s. It's indoors, two prolific offenses, two very bad defenses. I also think the Lions win this game, and I will be betting them on the money line. How do I like this game? I like it a lot. Take over the total and take Detroit. KC going into Denver, Kansas City minus 9.5 in Denver, and the total in this game 43.5. Guys, look, originally I was loving a 10-team, a 3-team 10-point teaser with Buffalo, Kansas City, and Dallas. Dallas was 16.5. Now they're 17.5, and I cannot recommend that teaser anymore. But I got no issue if you can find a third team to tease Kansas City and Buffalo with on a 10-point 3-teamer. As for this game, I'm not touching it. KC, like Dallas, could name their score, and both teams aren't going to call me to tell me about it. Pass on Kansas City and Denver. Carolina going into Seattle. Carolina +4. The total in this game, 44.5. There is no other way to look at this game but to take the Hawks. Points or no points. A great comeback win from them last week, but they really should have manhandled the Rams. They have to feel bad about the whole game in total. However, they have to feel really good about their ability to make that last 2-minute drive to win the game. It was a great confidence-building comeback. I think we see Seattle lay the smackdown on Carolina this week. I know Seattle is running issues, but this team is going to get their points. I just can't see the Panthers keeping pace. We saw a nice win from the Panthers 2 weeks ago. And yes, now that they are coming off a bye, but that just makes no difference to me. I don't think these teams compare. Take Seattle -4. Tampa Bay going into San Fran, and Tampa Bay is +3.5. Total in this game, 37.5. What a win by the Bucs last week. Wow. I mean, that was a comeback for the ages, and maybe that is exactly what they needed to get going. An equally impressive win by San Fran with their third-string backup QB and against a very good Miami team. With that said, I don't know how you can take San Fran here. It just makes no sense to me. I know they have a monster D and tons of weapons on offense, but man, they're starting their third-string quarterback. They're playing against a Bucs team that is putting together some wins, and the Bucs are getting more than a field goal? I can't see this game being anything but an under and Tampa Bay. I think we're going to see a 16-13 time football game. Take under the total and take Tampa Bay plus the points. Now we turn our attention to Miami and the LA Chargers. Okay, so we got Miami at -3. There were a few 3.5s on the board, but now it's mainly -3. The Chargers and Miami, 52.5. A lot of money pouring in on the over, and I totally understand that. As of now, we have key injuries that are still working themselves out. So let's assume Tua and Waddle play. The only way to bet this game is the over. Now, I understand it was 51.5, and now it's 52.5. The difference between 51.5 and 52.5 is like 1%. The difference between 50 and 52 is massive. But from 51.5 to 52.5, somewhat irrelevant. The Chargers of Miami have horrible pass defenses. And in points allowed, Miami is number 25 in the league in points allowed. And the Chargers sit as the third worst defense in all of football. As we know, these teams can score. The Chargers are the 14th highest scoring team. Miami is the 8th. And take both of those with a grain of salt, as the Chargers missed Keenan Allen for half the season, and Miami didn't have Tua for 3 games. So these offenses are much better than those numbers. I see this game being a total shootout. Like we spoke about before, I hate that this number is more than 51. But again, one of these teams, I think, will get into the 30s. There is no other way to bet this game. take over the total in the Miami Chargers game. As for the New England-Arizona game, I will be in play for that, so I have nothing for you here. That's it for the first part of the NFL Presidential Address. Meghan Payton coming up now to give out some props. Meghan, the mic is all yours.
Thank you very much, Prez. I have 3 player props that I'm targeting this week. Number 1, quarterback Jalen Hurts, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. This has been a lock for me in recent weeks. You won't find it in plus money because Hurts has had at least 2 passing touchdowns in 6 of 7 games the last 7 weeks. We're watching in front of us Hurts become an MVP candidate. We can look at his stats, whether it's passer rating, completion percentage, they're all going up. He's had 20 passing touchdowns this season. He'll be going up against a Giants pass defense that's 18th in the league. Expect Hurts and his receivers to have a big game. I'm taking over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Hurts. Number 2, I'm sticking in NFC East this week. I like running back Tony Pollard over on his longest rush. Line isn't out yet. I'm going to eye anywhere 18.5 or lower to take the over on that is. Tony Pollard, I literally think of him as yards after contact. That's why he's so great. His longest rush last week against the Colts was 30 yards. I think he's going to have a little bit of an easier time going up against a Texans team that Vegas is giving no benefit of the doubt. This is the biggest spread we've seen all season in the NFL. Cowboys are 18-point favorites. They have the 32nd most rushing yards allowed. This Texans run defense is awful. Take Tony Pollard over his longest rush. Eye it somewhere in the 18.5 line. Number 3, I'm taking running back DeAndre Swift anytime touchdown. Swift is dealing with a little bit of an ankle injury. It's minor. He was a full participant in Thursday's practice, so I fully expect him to play on Sunday. Going up against a Minnesota team, so it's going to be one of their more difficult challenges. But DeAndre Swift had his best game last week since week 1. He's getting tripled the amount of carries, which means he has a lot more chance to score. Swift has had a touchdown in the past 3 of 4 games. If the carries go up, the chances for a touchdown go up. I like this against the Vikings. Take DeAndre Swift anytime touchdown. Those are my 3 player props I have this week, Prez. Go cash some bets. Happy NFL Week 14.
Guys, I'm back. It's time for the show best bets. Meghan Payton, awesome work. We love having you. Guys, if you've never watched this show before, I don't think today's show was my best work. Totally jet lagged, completely under the weather, brain dead, sniffles, coughs. I just need some sleep, to be honest with you. As we spoke about at the beginning of the show, I've absolutely demolished this NFL season for my clients. Make sure to buy my Sunday all access package. Here are your 3 show best bets. Detroit on the money line, Pittsburgh on the money line, and Cincinnati -5.5. That's it. Thank you all for watching. Next week, we'll be back doing it on Wednesday. Until then, namaste.